Welcome to Alternative Health. I'm Valerie Saxon, and today we're going to be talking about our detoxification system, one of them, I should say, and what God put within these bodies to really get rid of the toxic exposure that we are all dealing with. And I'm not talking about just, eating bad food, toxic food, but everything around us. From oil spills in the Gulf and what toxins that's putting off, not just in the water, but in the air, to exhaust from a vehicle, to the chemicals that are in our dry cleaned clothes. What system did God put on our bodies to get rid of those toxins? That's what we're going to be talking about. But first, I'm going to take you back in time just a little bit, and we're going to talk about the pre-industrial man, the people that were living off the land, the men and the women that had seriously very little to worry about in terms of toxic exposure. The kind of toxins that they might encounter would be limited to like smoke from a cooking fire or occasional plants or mushrooms that they might come in contact with. Maybe they put in their food not realizing it was toxic. Maybe moldy foods because they didn't have refrigeration, so things may become molded. Maybe heavy metals that would have been in the water that they would have gotten from the well, because we know in different areas, of course, there are different metals that are leached into the water and therefore in their drinking water. So let's talk about the system that's in our body that would get rid of those in pre-industrial man, which of course is the same system, but now we're in much more overload. That system is called the glutathione conjugation pathway. And for that pre-industrial man, the people out living on the land, that was basically all that was needed. They were able to slough off those toxins. They were probably more likely to die from injuries, from things like that would happen to the body versus, or maybe just wearing themselves out from walking everywhere. But they would typically not have all of the cancers and so forth and different types of disorders and diseases that we see now. If we look at what modern men and women are going through, it's very, very different. Some of the toxins that we are being exposed to are drastically different on the body. Of course, everything imaginable. Let's talk about, like the smoke that we talked about from cooking fires. In the 1800s, widespread use of coal as an energy source was for homes, factories, transportation, production of electricity. In fact, I can remember going to Pittsburgh years ago, probably going on 30 years ago for the very first time, and because there was so much coal mining still going on there, I can remember seeing the snow in just black layers. I remember thinking the city is black because there were just layers of this coal on everything. And so many of those people, in the 1900s had to deal with black lung because of this. So there you have it. But if we look all the way back, so we're looking back in time just a little bit, you can look back to the black fog from the burning coal, kind of like Pittsburgh I'm talking about, and how even their faces, the outside of their skin, the exterior would be black from all this smoke. But then think about what was going on the inside of the body, which is exactly what we need to deal with today in different terms. So the inhabitants of London and their newly industrialized cities, which is where things kind of were birthed, became sick. The people that were dealing with this all the time, they were dying at early ages, and because of that, actual legislation was passed to prohibit this from, getting the plants, the coal burning plants out of the city away from the residents. So that was a short-term solution, but of course that affects the entire atmosphere, because as more and more countries became industrialized, the smoke burning from coal became a worldwide problem. Now, if you add this to the exhaust expelled from the now nearly 600 million vehicles, that's pretty scary, on the world's roads, you can see that the smoke problem has only increased, and we know that as well as all of the other factories and plants and so forth. Of course, in the larger cities like Mexico City, like Los Angeles and many others, we see daily reports, on how the air is, what's the quality of the air that people are breathing, and is it really safe, especially for people that are already compromised, to go outside and be breathing these toxins in. Our glutathione system, as I started out, it was sufficient at the beginning when people were dealing with these toxins to detoxify the things that we were coming in contact with easily from the body. But what's happening now, because of the sheer mass of airborne toxins, the system is becoming overloaded, because many of these toxins, they don't just expel from the body easily, they actually accumulate within the body. So what are some of the other toxins? We're just dealing with one right now. The next type of toxin that we typically deal with, which I talk about this all the time, is chemicals. Chemicals, pre-industrial man was exposed to would have been the things that they found naturally occurring in plants. Plants that have various defenses, some things like some of the cactuses, some of the different herbs, things that they should not have been eating, but maybe they would eat them, they would get sick, the body would try and slough off those chemicals, and you know how it does it, it comes out or up, one or the other, right, when you eat something that you're not supposed to. So the body was able to, by and large, before we became exposed to all of these chemicals, to get rid of these toxins out of the body through the glutathione system as well. But today, once again, look at what we're being exposed to. We are being exposed to thousands upon thousands of chemicals on a daily basis. It's everything from our hairspray to our deodorant. In fact, it's estimated 400 million tons of the 6 to 11 million known chemicals are produced for use just in industry alone. Now, that's not taking into effect any of the other toxins that we've mentioned. So if you look at artificial colors, flavors, preservatives, all of these things that are on and in everything, once again, from our hair products to our skin products to our foods, all of the things that are being put into preserve, really it goes back to making more money, if you if you really want to look at it. But it's costing us everything, in that all of these chemicals that man is currently using, which seems to be limitless in most cases, everything from preserving the food to preserving the things that we're putting on our bodies, are wreaking havoc. So we're going to come back, we're going to talk more about this, and I'm going to tell you what you can do about it. Welcome, Caleb. I know that you are no stranger to TBN, and you have a story to tell, and I want you to jump in and tell us.
Well, short story, but a good story. After undergoing a pretty major surgery, my body just hasn't felt right, and you suggested a liver cleanse, a detox, and I done it, and honestly, within less than 24 hours, amazing difference. My body, I had energy. I felt great.
You looked like a different person.
Yeah, it was amazing, and I'm ready to continue my regimen.
The other thing that I remember that you said was that your sleep was absolutely amazing.
So I slept. It was great. Everything there. I highly recommend it. It's great. I love it.
Well, it was a divine appointment, wasn't it?
It was.
For a lot of reasons. Well, praise God. You know what? We're going to have more. We'll be right back.